Welcome to your final challenge problem in this unit on basic data types. We're going to start by printing a welcome message to the user. So we'll say print, and we'll say welcome to the multiplication slash exponent table program. And I'm going to change this to program. There we go. Close that string, and we're moving on. So the next thing we should do is we need to get user input for their name that they'd like to use and for the number that they want to use. So let's create a variable. We'll call it name, and we'll call the input function. And the prompt that we'll use, I'm going to put some white space here between my header and my input statement, so \n, and I'll say, hello, what is your name? And I'm going to title case this, so I'll call the title method. And I'm also going to call the strip method to get rid of any white space if the user maybe had that in there. Now let's do a similar operation here to get the user's number. So I'm going to create a variable, call it num, and I'll set it equal to an input statement. And our prompt this time will say, what number would you like to work with? Here, I'm going to want to take this string result and I'm going to cast it to a float. That way the user can enter in an integer if they want to. They can enter in a decimal. And you know what? This is kind of like our section where we're gathering user input. So let's put a comment here, gather user input. Very nice. Next, we're asked to define a variable called message that will hold the following string. So let's see, message equals. We want to hold the name in title case. So I've already done that. So name plus comma math, and we'll capitalize that. Math is cool. So there's our variable message, and we're going to use that message to print later on at the end of the program. Now, we want to create a multiplication table that calculates the product of whatever number the user entered and the numbers 1 through 9. So let's put a comment here. We'll say multiplication table. Let's print a header for this table. So I'll do the new line character and I'll say multiplication table 4. And then let's put the user's number. Of course, we know we got to cast this to a string, so we're going to call the string function. Close that print statement. Now, right now, we're going to write out, I think, 9 lines of code here to print this. And maybe later on, when we're further along, we might say, hey, there was a more efficient way to do this, print this table. But for right now, we're just going to print multiple lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I get one line working. I'm going to put a new line character here. And then I'm going to tab in. I'm going to say 1.0 plus 1.0 and the multiplication sign, right? 1.0 times. Let's do the string representation of our value number plus space equals sign plus. Now, here's where it's going to get nice. We want to perform the multiplication, and we want to round everything here to 4 decimal points. So I'm going to first call the round function, and inside the round function, I'm going to give the number that I want to round. I want to round around 1 times the number. And right now, if you recall, number is a float, because here we're only temporarily casting it to a string. We didn't actually change its value. I want to round that to 4 decimal places. Now, this result I need to turn into a string. So I'm going to call the string function and pass that as the argument to the string function. And now I need to close my parentheses. Let's run this and just verify that this print statement is working. Oh, I never saved this. Well, give me 1 second. Documents. Should have done this beforehand. I apologize. Challenge 5, multiplication. We'll save that. All right, what is your name? My name is Mike. And what number would I like to work with? Let's work with 4.5. And so we see right here our multiplication table for 4.5. I have 1 times, you know what I want to do? I want to introduce a space right here after that multiplication. I think I would like to do that before we go further. So let's see, right here, my multiplication sign, I put my space. And now this line should work pretty nicely. So what I can actually just do, I'm just going to copy this and paste it. I don't want the new line character here, so we'll get rid of that. And I'm going to change this value from 1, because I don't want to multiply my number by 1. I want to multiply it by 2. And now that we can copy and paste. So this will be for 2, here's for 3, for 4, for 5, for 6, for 7, for 8, and for 9. And let's change our numbers here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right now, this is our best way to do this. We may learn a better way to do this in the future. So let's check this. Mike, we'll do 4.5. And there's our nice multiplication table. It's formatted perfectly. We have to do something similar for an exponential table. So let's see. Let's say exponent table. And so I'm going to print a header. We'll do a new line to break our tables up. And I'll say exponent table for the string value of number. And now let's try to do something similar here. Let's get one line working. So I'm going to do a new line and I'm going to tab. And what I want to do is I want to take the number. So I'm going to do, there's my number that the user entered, plus exponentiation is 2 multiplication signs. And we're going to raise it to the first power to begin, equals. So there's my mathematical statement, right? If I entered in 4.5, this would read 4.5 to the first power equals. And now I need the mathematical result. So again, I'll call the round function, and I'm going to do num raised to the first power, comma, 4 decimal places. But then that's going to give me a float. So I'm going to cast that to a string, and we'll close our parentheses. Now let's just make sure that this works before we go through and do all our copy and pasting. Like, let's just do 4. So 4 raised to the first power is equal to 4.0. I think that is perfect. So we're going to copy this line, paste it. Let's get rid of the new line, right? We don't want the new line to appear. And we're going to change this value to 2. And now we'll copy that line and paste it for 3, for 4, for 5, for 6, for 7, for 8, and for 9. And we just have to change our exponents here. Very nice. Let's verify that this is working the way that we want it to. Mike, and let's do 4. So there's our exponent table for 4. I forgot to change a few things. You probably saw this. I never changed the numbers here in our multiplication table, and I never changed these numbers in our exponent table. So that's a quick fix, right? So we'll change this to 2.0, 3.0, 4.05, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I will change our exponents from 1 to 2. This should be a little bit more mathematically correct. Let's try this now. So Mike, let's work with 2. 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 3 times 2, 4 times 2, 5 times 2. That looks really nice. And if we look here, 2 to the first power, second power, etc. Perfect. Just one more thing that we need to do in our program. We want to print a series of messages using the various string methods that have been introduced. So let's see. I'll say this. We'll just put a comment here. We'll say math is cool. So the first print statement, we just want to print our message. So we're going to do print, and let's put it on a new line, right? Let's put some white space here, break this up. We'll print message. Our next print statement, we want to print the message in lowercase. So, and I tabbed it in once, and so we'll print message, and I'll call the lower method. Our next print message, we want to print it in title case. And I've tabbed it in 2 times now. So I'll do 2 tab characters, and I'll call message dot title. And lastly, I've tabbed it in 3 times. So this is going to give us like that cascading effect of the messages. We want to print the message in uppercase. So we're going to do message dot upper and close that off right there. So I think here we have a nice complete program. Everything's commented nicely, formatted correctly. Let's run this and check. So let's put our name in. I'll put my name in. We'll introduce some white space, see if we actually strip it. And let's work with the number 2.35. And so if we look, here is our multiplication table, nicely formatted for multiplication from 1 to 9. Here's our exponent table, nicely formatted for exponentiation with 1 through 9. And then here is our sequence of cascading print statements using all of those different string methods that we learned in this unit. This will conclude our look at basic data types. I hope you enjoyed this unit, and good luck to you as you continue on with other chapters. Excellent work.